We're talking soccer with the head coach of the men and women at Columbia College, John Klein, the MediaCom Coaches Show here on Channel 22, also on ColumbiaCougars.com. And if you haven't played around with the new website, ColumbiaCougars.com, all kinds of extra video features, stats, schedule information, and more. And one of the big things coming up for Columbia College is the family homecoming weekend. Games, the Hall of Fame ceremony will be on Friday the 4th, and then Saturday the 5th. They're between live games, volleyball and scrimmages. The basketball teams are scrimmaging. Softball teams doing their thing out at Antimmy. You guys have a men's home game that afternoon, 3:30. Is that right?
I believe 3:30.
And Mid-Continent comes to town. That's another new team to the AMC Conference out of Kentucky, right?
Right. And we have played Mid-Continent on the men's side in recent years, or over the years, and have always been a competitive squad. They don't have women's soccer, so we won't have a women's match that day. I would expect they might add it in the next year or two. But yeah, our conference is deeper, Mid-Continent, Freed-Hardman. So some new teams that we have to be watching out for.
All right, come out and watch the team on that homecoming day. I want to make sure I get all of the people going into the Hall of Fame. Dr. Gerald Bruder, of course, the retired president and a very big contributor. John Haggerty from baseball from back in 1979. Greg Logan from men's hoops from 79. Laura Small from softball in 89. And then soccer fans of Columbia College, you remember Vladimir Roganovich from 2005. And Vlada was quite a impactful player for your soccer team. Tell anybody who's not familiar with what he did over at R. Marvin Owens, what kind of a player he was and why he is well-deserved of going into the Cougar Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Vladimir is one of the great, Cougar alums and very loyal to the college. In fact, he's up in Kansas City and involved in coaching. Sent us a player on the women's side this year, Carly Howe. She's doing a great job. But Vlada is one of the great ones in a nice list of center backs that we've had over the years. And when I first got here, it was Kjell Einertyen, the Norwegian who was already here. Dan Hogan had recruited him, and he was so solid. And unfortunately, he passed away of cancer several years ago. And then Vladimir followed him, and then Vladimir kind of led the way for the Serbian connection. And of course, Nikola Velikvic was here, but Vladimir was terrific back there. Had good size, very strong on the ball, loved to win balls in the air defensively, and he was just passionate about the game. And he's very deserving of a Hall of Fame honor that he'll receive.
Anytime I see his name, I always think that was one of the first names when I first started doing stuff with the soccer team as PA announcer. I was always the first double check with how do you okay, all right, got it, all right, here we go. And then since then it's been, like you said, the steady stream of that recruiting. But that it just it's another one of those talk with the Cougar family of the soccer program, and really in all the sports. A lot of the former athletes that graduate and move on that stay involved in sports and athletics on the coaching side or whatever. It ends up kind of continuing to help in that recruiting base for future athletes.
Yeah, it's terrific. As the internationals, they like to call and just make recommendations, suggestions, and you still have to do your research. But it's nice to have Vladimir up in the youth community up in Kansas City, and I suspect that we'll get several more Kansas City players over the years from. He's got a nice little club operation going up there. They've got multiple teams. So, and he was a true student of the game, and you certainly anticipated that he'd wind up in coaching as a profession.
Most definitely one of those players that you could see as he progressed coaching on the field and then now off the field. The Cougars again at the homecoming weekend, the 4th and 5th of October, and the Hall of Fame ceremony is on campus that evening, the 4th, and then the game on Saturday. A full list of all the different events involving literally all of the teams in some capacity, whether it's an actual game or a scrimmage of some sort. I guess really the only ones unfortunately on the outer would be the soccer team, because the opponent doesn't have. But that's the scheduling.
The women's
you're trying to make
team,
here this week with Stevens, the men don't have a game because there's no obviously men's team at Stevens College for you ladies. Well, hopefully the ones that are injured that can get back quick, and the Cougars make a push here in the middle portion of the season. And we'll talk to you again as we get closer to the end of the season and conference tournament time. Coach, appreciate your time.
Sounds good. Thank you, Cosmo.
Coach John Klein. Again, the Cougars soccer schedules on the website, ColumbiaCougars.com. A lot of home games in October, only 2 or 3 in September. So if you get a chance, get out to R. Marvin Owens. check out the new science building and the soccer field and watch the ladies and the guys play soccer out at R. Marvin. Thanks for watching Cougar Coaches Show here on Mediacom Channel 22.